Hello, everybody. Apollo here, and today I want to talk to you about creating beautiful internet experiences. So, yesterday I made a little tweet that said the future belongs to artists and engineers. And then somebody commented, but what about marketers? I think they're in the middle. They're the only ones that can communicate to artists or engineers. And my answer was that marketers are also artists. And I think today's workshop is really going to demonstrate why creating funnels or experiences is really a form of art. So, before we jump in, I want to lay some foundations that I think will also demonstrate why creating experiences or spending a lot of time crafting that skill of sending your communities or users or customers on these transformational journeys. First, clickbait is dead. Any sort of marketing copywriting that scams people of their attention doesn't work. All sorts of over-optimized YouTube thumbnails or YouTube titles doesn't work anymore. People are tired of it. Everybody has been doing it. Everybody knows how to do it. Even AI knows how to do it. So it's dead. What people want is authentic experiences. So good news is that it also won't come back. And the future is to sell beautiful internet experiences. Another foundation is anything that you sell, that you give people, is a vehicle. A vehicle from current to the future state that you show them. Probably you already noticed, so I'm not going to bore you with this too long. But it's really worth spending some time on this because no matter what you do, it's always a vehicle, it's always a transformation. We're going to look at some examples later together, but the software tool that you sell, boom, it's a transformation. And it's your purpose to make that vehicle, that journey, as fast, as painless, as immediate as possible, and that desire state as attractive as possible as well. I see this especially in Web3. Like, if you build an NFT project or if you build a tool, if you build a platform, that NFT is a ticket to something. It should unlock a future state, a future experience. That's what you're doing, nothing else. Uh, we can look together at Binance, right? We can ask ourselves what is the vehicle that they sell? Why do people even trade crypto? It's very easy to say like, hey, like they have the lowest fees and I can connect my card, but it's not why people use Binance. Binance is maybe a lifestyle of an exchange that doesn't care about FUD. Or it gives me the image that I'm a crypto person, which means that I'm innovative, that I can come home for Christmas and say things that none of my family understands, or that I can make 10,000% gains and become a millionaire overnight and my friends are gonna laugh at me. That's what Binance is. That's what Binance really is. It's not about the feature, the tokens, the speed. It's about what kind of image do they project to you if you use the platform. Is it maybe freedom through crypto? Is it ownership? I don't know. But it's worth spending some time on that. Let's think about doodles. What is the future idea that they sell? What is the vehicle? Okay, let's say you go and you buy a doodle. What do you get? Okay, you get access to this colorful, beautiful world. You're connected to artists, people in LA. You maybe have access to a network that is very creative. Um, and what is the transformation? For example, if you buy a bike, you can then say, oh, now I'm this cool person that I can flex on WhatsApp, that can text anybody on Twitter and they're gonna open my DMs. I'm part of this exclusive Louis Vuitton of Web3. So again, it's a transformational journey. It's something that people want to be. There's a good friend of mine is working for the startup. It's called Magic Store. And for them, what they say is you can explore the Magic Store Web3 app universe. So it's for people that are now joining Web3. It should be a way to discover Web3. Okay, what's the transformation that they sell for a user that is maybe from the Philippines that has never heard about crypto before and they use Magic Store? At the end of the path, 6 months later, how should their look like? their life look like? What kind of transformation did they go through? Okay, now they know more about crypto. Okay, how does that change their life? Do they have more freedom? Did they make money? Is it only about knowledge or connections? And it's really worth just mapping that out and really spending time on that, because all sort of copywriting, email communication, social media marketing is all built on that one idea: what's the future person that they want to become. For example, for Side, people want to become token titans. They want to go on that path of building in Web3, not caring about market conditions, not saying GM, not FUDDing, just calm and easy every day, hard work, connecting with the right people, building technology and communities. That's what Side is about, for example. Last, or two more, is that your users, customers, and readers are real people, so you should also treat them as such. If you go on Twitter, you're gonna see a lot of, hey, like, here's a threat, or hey, like, you won't believe what happened next, or like all these YouTube videos where they say, like, wow, but then this happened. A very good test for this is to ask yourself, would you read that script to just a random person that you meet on the street? Or would you read this to your grandmother? Or would you be embarrassed that it's so clickbaity? So make it natural. Have some spelling mistakes in there, it's fine. Just keep it authentic, keep it natural. People don't do business with companies, they do business with people. So relax, right? They need to trust you. And it's very easy to forget that at the end of the screen for Magic Store, like, is real people. It's not bots. Also for Binance, it's real people entering their phone number, going through all these steps, eventually placing in trades. So you're dealing with humans, and humans want to be treated as humans. So don't give them, hey, a threat kind of vibe. And the last thing is a concept of a lifelong customer from Dan Kennedy. So the idea is, or the question is, how would you treat someone knowing that you will spend the rest of your life with them? So the idea is that everybody that joins your community, everybody that reads your tweets, everybody that engages with you, they should be around you for the rest of your life. You should treat every user, every person that lands on your website with the goal of being together with them for the rest of your or their life. And that removes all sort of shortcuts, all sort of scammy marketing, copywriting, all sorts of sleazy tricks. It's just good, honest relationship building. So enough of that. Back to creating beautiful internet experiences. So if we ask ourselves, who's really good at creating experiences? Who's in the business of creating experiences? Who makes all the money creating and delighting people? So, small jump to a backstory of mine. I spent the first couple of years in my young career working in 5-star hotels around the world. And when I joined Web 2 or later on Web 3, I was always a bit ashamed because I thought, okay, like, I was just this guy, like, standing in these luxurious lobbies. I worked 9 months in a really famous hotel in Japan. And basically, my only job there was to stand there, talk to people, and make sure they have a good time, like a walking concierge. And whenever I would tell this to people, they're like, oh, cool. And I would kind of feel a bit like downgraded from all the smart engineers or people that are around me. But there is one extremely important skill that I learned there, and that's the power of creating experiences. My only job there is to look at, okay, there's a person walking through the door. How can you absolutely nail their experience in the time they spend in the hotel, and whenever they leave, they should have a great time. And it's the same thing for somebody joining your community. They open the door, they connect their wallet. Okay, how are they greeted? How are they being communicated to? How is their stay inside this facility? And the reason that Amman, for example, is able to charge 5K per night for the hotel that you see on the left bottom here is that they're just really, really good at creating experiences. The reason that Four Seasons is I think it's an $80 billion company, is so valuable is because they really nailed down this idea of creating beautiful experiences. And the only thing that we do is we learn from that and we do it digital. So as an example, you have the George V in Paris Four Seasons Hotel. I think it's around 1K per night right now. It's the same thing. You land from the airport. Okay, does somebody pick you up or not? Okay, you land in front of the hotel. Do you need to open your own door? Does somebody open it for you? Do they already know your name? Do you need to spend 5 minutes at check-in? How does that look like? Okay, then you enter the elevator. How does the room? So it's a complete journey of joining the hotel, joining this new world, from going to the spa, having lunch, having breakfast, sitting in the lobby, hearing music, having a conversation with the staff, eventually sitting on the rooftop terrace looking at the Eiffel Tower. But there's also a whole lot of stuff that can go wrong. And if things go wrong, people won't return. It's the same thing with your community, for example. If somebody opens a ticket and it takes 5 minutes for somebody to reply, it's a bad experience. Or 5 minutes, maybe one day to reply, it's a bad experience. If somebody joins the community and there are people screaming and fudding, they're like, oh, I'd rather walk out of this situation here because I don't feel very, very at ease. But if somebody joins a community and it's a party and it's great, we have this chapter of the book that we are writing. It's called Berghain. Is that your job as a community owner is make sure that the party is on. Make sure that people stay, new people are coming, make sure it's fun. And with the hotel, same thing. It should be a place where people would never want to leave. There are some examples of what we did in the hotel that I worked in Japan. So we had a couple of guidelines that we read every day or that were in the back office somewhere, the stuff that nobody ever reads. But I think they're quite interesting to share and also think about for you, for your own way of dealing with moderators or designing the customer experience path that you're sending people on. For example, you said no guest should ever be forced to mention his room number or name. So every morning we sat down and we had to study the faces of the guests together with the room numbers. So you would already know if somebody walks up to you like, oh, whatever, this is Mr. Pellegrino. Mr. Pellegrino has the room number, I can check it up, 450, and you give it to them. And that guy is like, wow, that's sick. Okay, now I know why I'm paying 1K per night. There's another rule we had that no guest should ever touch a door or even an elevator button. That's why we had a small Japanese guy that was just standing all day in the elevator pressing buttons for people. A third one was that no guest should ever mention his preferences twice. So in the morning, if you have breakfast and you say, hey, like I don't like gluten or I'm lactose intolerant, then in the evening already, the other restaurant that they visit should be aware of that, so they don't have to repeat things. You can mince that exactly to a community that you're building. Is you say, okay, if you know that there's maybe a whale that deserves special treatment or somebody that had already troubles with creating a link with you before, okay, let's make sure that this person is served first, or that we know that what happened before is not going to happen again, right? Basic customer service. Last one is that no guest must ever ask for something twice. Better he needn't ask for it at all. So it's not that you create a community and you're like, hey guys, like what should we do for you guys? We don't really have a clue. We didn't think about it. It's more like, hey, this is what we prepared for you because this is what we think that you want. We can have a conversation about it, but everything is already in place. Like you can just relax, lay back, and enjoy the experience that we created for you. Another thing I think is quite interesting to share is that we tried to recognize the face and the name of the person on arrival. So if somebody flew, like a VIP guest, between brackets, flew 10 hours from Europe to Tokyo and they arrived, the goal was to open the door and recognize their face and greet them by name. So in the morning, I had to spend like 2 hours because I was the unlucky intern looking at LinkedIn profiles, at the names, at the reservations, and compiling a list of preferences. I would then also look at their social media profiles and say, okay, I see that they stayed in this hotel and they really like this treatment. Okay, I see this post that they really loved champagne. Okay, let's put free champagne in the room. Or whatever this woman posted about this crazy flower bouquet that she had. Okay, free flower bouquet. So you already know like who this person is and how you can adjust your journey to them, right? So for example, if you have like we had some right-wing news commentators from the US. So you just remove some newspapers from the room that maybe they wouldn't like, right? It's really just an experience for the people. Another thing that we had is that each employee had a $50 budget per guest that they can spend on to surprise the guest. So for example, you're a waiter in the restaurant and you hear somebody talking about, hey, like, I love this olive oil, this is great. Then you can take your time, go outside, buy olive oil in your work time and bring it to the guest and say, hey, like, it's a us, man. Appreciate it. And another thing, they love the chopsticks or they had this great experience. You can use money from the hotel, a budget from basically the money that they paid you to stay there, to surprise them, to delight them. And for example, they can't stop talking about how much they love the massage. Give them another one, right? They really like Italian silk scarves. Go out and buy one, right? So this is just a level of experience, the level of journey that you can send people on if you're willing to go the extra mile. So to put it all together, there's one thing that I really like about filmmaking, or something that Disney uses, which is called storyboard. So when you start creating a movie, you first sit down and you ask yourself, okay, like you think about the main scenes. Okay, like this is act 1, act 2, act 3, act 4, and you draw it out in sketches. And you kind of develop this journey where you have a start, a middle, and end, and then you can look at it from afar and say, hey, okay, maybe we can add some more emotions here, or maybe there's some stuff that we're missing, maybe there should be a conversation, maybe there's probably some attention drop off here because like we're not keeping it up enough. What can we add here? And it's the same thing with your user experience, your customer experience. So if you're right now working on you're setting up a community, how do people enter? How do they find you? What's the first act? What's the first 10 seconds that they see your profile, that they see what you're doing, what you're about? What do they feel? What might be not as pleasing or as interesting? How can you change that? So, or somebody joins your newsletter, how can you give them the best 15 seconds, 30 seconds after signing up? What's the first email you send? How does the journey look throughout them being part of you? And it's very easy to say, okay, I'm just going to copy what everybody else does. But this is a really fun exercise also for you to challenge your own creativity, to think, hey, okay, maybe every Friday I send this specific mail, or every Saturday I only send videos, right? Or a voice message. I'm going to touch them from different ways, again, with very positive intent to create the best experience for them possible. It's not about the sale, it's not about the money, it's about the experience. If the experience is good, all the money is going to follow. Don't worry about it. If you compare this with a sales funnel, do you see the difference? I honestly don't. And at the end, what you're trying to have here, trying to close the deal, or somebody watches the movie and they're gonna go out and recommend it to friends. They're like, hey, I think this is Pocahontas. Pocahontas, $15 cinema ticket. Go out and buy it. This was so great. Or they buy the video, or they buy more of Disney. They just connect it to the experience. You can do this for yourself, like we said. Ask yourself, how do they find you? Where do they find you? What's the first thing they see? Let's say they start watching from minute 30. Do they still understand the plot? Let's say somebody joins your email newsletter. Do they still understand the insider jokes? That's something that we had for our Token Titan newsletter. You can subscribe to it below. But we have a lot of insider jokes or methodologies or ideas that we share. And we said, okay, probably it's quite easy for a newcomer to understand all these pyramids that we're talking about. So think about that. Like, what is the journey that you send people on, and how at every step can you make sure that they're comfortable, that they feel great, that they want more, that they're sitting in their seats, they're like, wow, like what's gonna be next? Like, this is exciting. This is great. This is something I've never felt before. And you can nail this, or you can knock it out of the park with something that's called 10 or 11 star user experience from the Giga Chess billionaire Brian Chesky, founder of Airbnb. And Airbnb is now worth more than Hilton, I believe. They have no hotels, but they figured out a quite great way to have experiences for people. Because if you think about it, like, okay, I'm gonna rent out my Airbnb and I'm gonna welcome this stranger, that's eh. Or if in the beginning I started using Airbnb for the first time, I probably have quite some thoughts or doubts of, oh, is this person gonna scam me? Are they gonna murder me in my sleep? Is it gonna be dirty in the room? And they found out a really great way to make this experience as smooth and comforting as possible. They call this the 11-star user experience. So they started with, what's a 5-star experience? So 5-star experience is you book an Airbnb, you arrive, everybody's on time, apartment is clean, everything you wanted is there, you didn't get catfished, you check out, you pay everything, it's smooth, everybody's on time, everybody's happy. That's 5-star. Basically, nothing went horribly wrong. And then you can ask yourself, okay, let's take this up a notch. Up a notch, up a notch. What would be a 6-star experience? So what they say here, 6-star, you get to the Airbnb, there's a bottle of wine and fruit waiting for you with a handwritten note. Okay, that's quite doable, right? So you can tell your host, okay, 6 stars, this is what you can do. 7 stars, a limo picks you up from the airport, and when you get to the house, there's a surfboard because the host knows that you like surfing. Maybe because he has an intern like me that spends researching LinkedIn and social profiles, right? Last one, go through them yourself, is Elon Musk picks you up from the airport and says, hey, we're going to space, and you also return. I think that's a funny one. So it's a very good exercise for you to think about, okay, somebody joins my community. Let's go back to Binance. Okay, somebody joins Binance, signs up. What is 6 stars? Okay, they already somehow know that you like gaming altcoins. So they only give you gaming altcoins. You place the trade as profitable. What would be 10 stars? You sign up, somebody knocks on your door, it's CZ. He tells, okay, let's go on a private jet. In the private jet, you place the trade, you make $1 million, you land, everybody cheers and loves you. You go on a Twitter AMA and everybody screams your name. You are now one of the most important people in crypto just because you used Binance. Maybe that's the dream that they're selling. I don't know. But for all of you that are creating communities or products, and at the core, like everything that you sell is a product. Every tweet that you write is a first step to something, is a first step to become that vehicle. I forgot to mention that in the beginning, but your vehicle is also your Twitter profile. Your vehicle is your newsletter. It's a product. If somebody joins Twitter and they read your tweets or on x.com, what do they get? What's the transformation that they go through every day? For example, for Alex Becker, his tweets, they are a product. It's every day, 3:30, every day you read it. You read something about whatever the crypto space or gaming or why Neo Tokyo is so great. But I like to come back and read them every day because I know what I'm getting. Or you're in a Telegram group where the founder, for example, with Luke Belmar, he always did voice messages that he calls data sets. It's a product. It's a first step to something. Okay, you want more? Boom, buy the membership. I think it's called Capital Club, right? But the journey is nice. You're in there. There's no FUD. It's very clean. It's very good quality voice messages. It's just nice, right? Doesn't matter what I think about the guy, but the experience is well thought through. And it's a product. So also for you, if you start writing a newsletter, think about it as a product. It needs to be a single standing brand. It needs to be something. If it's just another newsletter, nobody's going to care. It needs to be like, that's the newsletter that, or that's the guy who. That's what we're going for. So to round it off, imagine for yourself that you're the owner of a beautiful hotel or a beautiful house that you own, and everybody that interacts with you, they join this house, this world of interesting rooms that they can engage with, or interesting people that they can connect with in the lobby, or different experiences that they can go on together with you. And I think that's really the most beautiful part of all this, that you can just sit down on your desk here, map it out, and then have a positive impact on people. And I don't think there's anything more meaningful than that. The reason that I really loved working in hotels so much is that you meet somebody and then you have 2-3 days to really make them happy or really have a positive impact on them. And that's why I think also people like hospitality, even though it's a really horrible job if you look at the conditions and the pay, but at the core, you're just creating nice experiences for people. The lucky thing is for you, if you do this in a digital environment, you're going to work much less and you're going to make much more money. So, last rule that I have for you, spend one night per month in a 5-star hotel, the token titan rule. Why? Is because it's going to teach you how these experiences are created, how the staff engages with you, how they thought about the things that they offer you. And then you can take all of the things that you've learned and apply it to the hotel or the world or the ecosystem between brackets that you're building. So be inspired by this. Sit down every day and ask yourself, how can I make this experience better? How can I make this transformation or this journey for all the people that I'm in contact with nicer? And the same thing with your MVG that you're building. It's something that you do every day. Like, you're not gonna wake up and have all the enemies and all the iconic objects ready. It's a journey, it's a process. And it's the same thing with creating the journey for the people that you're on. Every day for Side, what we do, we ask ourselves, okay, like we have 70 people joining the bootcamp. Okay, why do only 15 complete it? Where in the journey, in the experience, does it drop off? Why do you have cancellations in a hotel, right? Where in this flow chart or in this storyboard do you mess it up? So that's everything from my side. And have a beautiful day. Spend some time enjoying these little creative outlets of creating experiences, thinking about your own character in that movie too, and have fun creating. LFB, everybody.